Okay, so at it again on the Corrado. This time we're doing the brakes again, and there's an engine oil leak. So here's the problem. I have a leak just here behind the timing cover, and we have to pull off all of this to go find it. So let's go. So I have the air manifold back off again. So I'm currently undoing all the nuts and bolts that hold up the rocker cover on. Just here is the timing belt, and there's a gasket that runs all the way around. I replaced it about a year ago and never drove the car, so I've never actually experienced any problems. But since I was setting the lights, I had the car taking over for about 10 minutes and went for a quick drive just to test out the lights and see how everything worked. And when I came back in, there was a huge puddle of oil on the ground. Turned out the gasket is after just walking itself in at the side here, and it's not making a seal. So when it's tight like this and the engine's cold, it does actually make a seal. And as soon as the engine warms up any bit at all, the metal is just expanding and the oil is just bypassing the metal, which it's only held on a tiny bit of the gasket. It's just held on this side, and then it's just leaking, and it's just running all the way down the side of the block. So I'm going to show that now. So there's you can kind of see the gasket. There it is at the side. So you see the center nut. See where the gasket has come out of it. And if you look in at the side, so just here, the gasket's after going in, and it's leaking all the way down the block. So all the side, this side, the front and the back side of the block is soaked in oil. So that's today's job. So the plan is take the rocker cover off, try straighten it, maybe use some heat temperature paste, that kind of RVC glue I think it's called, or whatever it's called, and see if I can stop the leak. Okay, so all the nuts and bolts are removed, so I'm going to try and lift the rocker cover now. Okay, maybe I'm not going to lift the rocker cover. There we go. Okay, there we go. I thought I had a nut and bolt or a bolt that I missed, but no. It's just awkward to lift off. Oh, it came off in the balls. Okay, so after a fruitless hour trying to find a damn bolt, I listened to the video playback a few times. I could actually hear the bolt dropping. So that's one, that's the second one found, and one was way off down there underneath the bottom of the radiator. So thankfully I found it. So back to the job at hand. This is the gasket, so you can see the white stuff. So that's actually how good the seal was all around, which is grand. And then we get up to the problematic area. So that's it there. You can see where it never sealed right. The other thing I don't like is these 4 circles here. That's what your spark plugs fit down through, and it's very hard to actually get the spark plug into the actual hole, and then get your I think it's a spark plug socket, to actually push the socket down past that, tie your or bolt up your spark plug, and then actually get the spark plug back out or the spark plug socket back out without it getting pulled off by any of these little circle yokes. Not a very good design. I didn't think I had it overly tight. I thought I had a nice snug fit. I don't know what the torque is, but yeah, I wasn't very impressed with them. This is brand new gasket, never used. I think there must be 5 miles up on it. Like, I literally changed it, put it into a shed. So that's grand. I'll drive it about 4 summers ago or 3 summers ago, and yeah, only now getting around to it. So the car's actually been in long-term storage. I've been driving a Mark 1 Golf, and now the plan is to drive this for the summer, or else as a daily. Okay, so a very actually simple fix. So this little dot just here was actually flattened back and wouldn't sit down right, so I just pulled it back down, kind of just squeezed the plastic or the rubber out with my fingers, kind of make it a bit more manageable again. And if I put it like that, put it back in the hole and just push it down like that, that'll be it sealed. And I'm going to put a little bit of RVZ glue or whatever it's called just there. I'm going to dry this up first and just put it in, and that should actually work. It should be actually a very quick fix. Like, I know realistically it probably actually will have to all be changed, but this is just, the problem is I don't actually fully know if it was actually this or was it this plus something else. I don't know if this is the primary cause. So the cog that sits here that drives your camshaft, there's a seal just here, and I don't really know for sure if the seal is leaking or if there's a leak somewhere else. But definitely this is one of the problems, if not the only problem, but I think there might be another problem. So I'm going to fix this, spray the whole thing with a degreaser, being careful around the timing belt. I have to do a new timing belt anyway, and then just go over the whole car and just see if there are any more leaks. Yeah, that's the plan. Okay, so I think I worked out why the gasket failed. So when I was obviously putting it down last time, I must have knocked it off because it has to clear all of this here, and obviously that nut, it must have just touched off it, pulled the gasket back ever so slightly that I didn't notice, and when I tightened it down, it just kinked it back. So I now know that I have to go up and way across and then slowly drop it down to make sure it doesn't touch, and just be extra aware. And obviously I can put my fingers in where you fill where the hole is here for filling the engine with oil. I can put my fingers in there and just give that little shove just in case it does come back, but I think it's going to work. I'll just be extra careful when I put it on this time. Okay, so I have it all back together. As you can see, there's a tiny little blob of RTV glue there, but the rest of it is just sitting in nicely. And what I end up doing in the end was, the RTV is just a tiny little blob just to hold it, but what I ended up doing was just putting my finger in here and just guiding it in. So I had my finger on the actual, this piece here, and just slowly just guided it in with everything else sitting there, and yeah, it all lined it up. So hopefully that'll stop the leak. So now just reattach it all back together again and test it out, but I'm pretty sure that's the fix. Okay, brilliant. That's everything there, done, finished. Test the engine, and currently no leaks, so I have to get the engine up to temperature and I will check it again. Okay, so you can see where I've removed one of the brake lines. There was a tiny pinhole crack, and every time I pressed the brake, you could see all the wet just over here. And all the brake lines were covered in brake fluid as well. So eventually worked out which of the four was actually leaking. So these two here have both been replaced probably about 4 or 5 years ago with copper lines. This is still a steel line, and the one that broke was also a steel line. So let's go have a look at it. So here's my steel line running all the way back to the back of the car where I showed everyone. This is the line that broke, and this here, little focus, you can see it just basically just corrosion just got in and ate it. So my original idea was to not disconnect it there, just drop the whole line and cut this back nice and clean, straighten some of this, get a new one of these, put it in there like that, and have it re-bent again, and just join it up, because like there's loads of slack here. Thinking about more and more about it, there's probably more and more rust. You know, if it's bad at a little place, it's probably bad everywhere. So I'm just going to replace the whole line with a copper line. These are steel lines from the factory, but obviously copper is more expensive, so that's why they use steel lines, but they also rust, so I'm going to go back to a copper line. Guys, so currently got the new brake line, currently installing it. You can see how far back I have to go, and I'm currently just putting all the little bends like that one and some other ones up there, just slowly putting them into it very carefully. And I'm using the ring of the hammer, so that circle there on the hammer, to get all the bends. And some of them I'm doing by hand, some of them I'm doing with the hammer, and the main thing is not to kink it, because if you kink it you have to start again. Okay, so I'm finished. So what I did was, that's the old one, so now there's a 90, basically 180, another 180, and then 90. So here's the same shape done again. And using the ring of the hammer, or the circle of the hammer I suppose, you put it down there and you bend around it, same there, and you can see the ring of the hammer just goes around it there as well. And then just there like that, and then you just manually just adjust it with your hand until everything kind of fits right, and it'll lose its shape a little bit, but that's it, done. So there we are, all finished. Is the third pipe from the left. You can see all the bends. I used the hammer method to bend all the bends, and it looks great. Okay, so that's now everything I've finished, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.